Gamingbolt presents the top boss fights in Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. We heard you loud and clear here at Gamingbolt. We don't talk about Metal Gear Solid quite enough on our lists, but can you really blame us for celebrating the series when the mind of Hideo Kojima has given our shared pastime some of the most memorable and unique boss fights and moments in the entire medium? Metal Gear Solid 3 is a fan favorite, and Snake Eater still plays like a dream, so we're halo jumping into the thick of it to celebrate what's frequently deemed the best of the entire series. And we're talking about the battles of a young naked snake during Operation Snake Eater, because they deserve to be celebrated, and to get it out of our system. The many encounters of the OCELOT unit. The unique and highly trained soldiers that report to Major OCELOT himself aren't quite on the level of the rest of the bosses such as VOLGIN and the Cobra unit, but to underestimate them is to invite disaster upon yourself. Whereas a typical KGB soldier that you'll see throughout the game might act more rashly and give Snake more openings, the highly trained special operatives will take more precautions, such as tossing grenades instead of charging in, and generally being more aware of their surroundings. As part of how much detail there truly is in Metal Gear, Snake can encounter the squad twice beyond the initial encounter at the bombed-out factory at Rasvet. Should Snake take the chance to kill the end early, he'll instead contend with a full squadron of snipers from the unit. Even later than that, should Snake not remove a planted transmitter, they'll track him down following the torture scene. The Sorrow. The uniquely unsettling encounter with the Sorrow is only as long as the player makes it, and also the only member that Snake doesn't cause the death of. Because the Sorrow is long dead and takes his chance at Snake when the two meet on the border of Death's Door. After jumping from a waterfall, Snake is forced down an endless river confronting the souls of those who the player has killed during the mission, and as such can only be 4 soldiers long or much more. His actual intentions are a bit mysterious though, as he appears to Snake outside of the fight throughout the game, occasionally even offering help with key information to his mission. Major OCELOT. The young GRU Colonel OCELOT was, much like most things in the game and series, far more than he appeared at first. Appearing during the initial Virtuous mission and being roundly humiliated by Naked Snake sparked the rivalry and later friendship that would echo throughout the entire series, and that initial meeting would begin the fixation on revolvers that he would continue throughout the rest of the games. The encounter with OCELOT at Bolshaya Pass Crevice was a tense, old-school gunfight between gentlemen, telling of the young man's values of honor and his skill as a triple agent. The Pain. The Cobra unit, being codenamed after the many emotions they bring to battle, makes the Pain a bit of a tragic figure. The scarred, mangled face of the Pain is due to his parasite infection that allows him to control his hornets, and the resulting stings as he learned to control them so well. He can even fire them with gun-like velocity and precision from his mouth. This battle sees the player have to dodge these insects and break his various formations with them, such as shields, while picking points to take potshots. The Fury. A near-death re-entry as one of the first cosmonauts kicked off the Fury's mad visions of a world on fire and anger at being alive. I'm sure we've all had Mondays like that. The last member of the Cobra crew to be taken down before the boss, the dancing flames reflecting from his helmet in the pitch-black tunnel to Groznyj give his encounter with Snake an almost beautiful contrast. The set piece of an about-to-explode, dying Fury pursuing Snake to the end of a tunnel, hoping to let his fury burn Snake to the ground by burying him in rubble, a bombastic moment in a game already full of spy movie send-ups. The Fear. Obsessed with fear, the next soldier of the Cobra unit would undergo intense surgery and augmentations to create an appearance that would completely terrify those that he faced on the battlefield. The Fear would give himself reptile eyes and a long forked tongue, but it's the various poisons and his erratic movements that make the Fear so hard to face in battle, with the player never knowing where the next trap or next shot will come from. His predator inspirations are easy to see with his optic camo and ability to move through the trees, but Kojima's humorous side shows through, with some of the tricks there are to beat him, such as tossing out poison food. VOLGIN. The intimidating form of VOLGIN taunts Snake from just out of reach throughout the game, with the scarred 6'7" monster demonstrating his physical prowess through firing off the 300kg Davy Crockett launcher with just his hands, and his even more powerful control of electricity giving him the ability to both protect himself and attack through controlling bolts himself or using them to fire off bullets placed between his knuckles. The ultimate Bond villain of the game, completing the theme of Snake Eater, his aspirations to end the Cold War for himself, and the over-the-top nature of his MO were countered by just how well the game sold his mania and power. The boss. The climax of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is a one-on-one fight with a woman who has meant everything to Snake, and been harassing the player themselves the entire game. Once you manage to overcome her white camouflage blending her into the flowers, and her infinite handgun called the Patriot by taking her down using the CQC techniques that the two themselves developed, one of the quietest, most pivotal moments in the series takes place. The defeated boss, overcome by the assault of her protege, is laying on the ground, defeated. Having completed her mission that Snake would only find out about after the fact, Kojima doesn't make it easy as the player themselves is forced to pull the trigger. SHAGOHOD. What is a true spy thriller without the vehicle chase sequence anyways? The hangar fight with Colonel VOLGIN discussed earlier wasn't the end of the madman, but only the beginning, as Naked Snake would be pursued by the precursor to the then thought impractical Metal Gear. SHAGOHOD was a terrifying machine for the time, utilizing screws and articulated legs to move into firing position from almost anywhere. While Snake never had to contend with the rocket boosters being used for their intended purpose to fire a nuke, without this exploding bridge trick they would have been run over by the Advance. With nearly impenetrable armor that would shrug off attacks from an RPG, it was only ultimately overcome by VOLGIN having to expose himself when he used his own body to repower it. The end. The single most unique boss battle in Metal Gear Solid 3, and something that is frankly stunning more games don't try to rip off, the encounter with the aged sniper, The End, is a tense, huge battle taking place across multiple areas, which doesn't challenge your reflexes and quick thinking, but rather your knowledge of the stealth systems. The slightest misstep or sound will alert the ancient man to your presence, to take a shot before rapidly repositioning. Those who use one of the alternate ways around the fight, such as taking him out early or waiting for him to die by waiting a real-time week, miss out on one of the most unique challenges not only of Metal Gear, but of gaming bosses.
And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gamingbolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.